It was 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, March 24th. Good morning, Richland County, and its never-ending, perpetual, continuous winter here. The Richland County Board of Commissioners is now in session. I'm Commissioner Cliff Mears, joined by fellow Commissioners Tony Vero, Darrell Banks, our senior clerk, Stacy Crawl, and we are joined by a host of other people, among them Rachel Troyer from Central Services, Carl Hunnell from Richland Source, Greg Kale from WMFD, and from Medina, we have Chris Knapp joining us. And online, anybody else?
No.
Okay. The first order of business, the first two orders of business are from Rachel, and the first one is to approve the renewal of the gasoline diesel fuel contract. So Rachel, the spotlight's on you.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. This is our final renewal for our gasoline and diesel fuel contract. It is currently with Inglefield Oil, and we've had them for years. We've always had great service, really great service, I should say, because if we have any issues, they're right there. Inglefield would like to renew for one additional year. It would be effective May 1st, 2026. And with this contract, just when you go to the pump, whatever price is listed at the pump, we get 11 cents off. And that is at all BP Duke and Duchess sites in the area. I do send out a list of all sites for our departments on a regular basis, so they know, where they can go and where they can't go.
Rachel, could you tell the group what you told me about the price on 4D, which is the unit-based bid price?
Yes. So when we bid this, we did ask for unit-based bid price, and that's only just to show. So it's the time, the day of the bid opening. If you look at the pricing proposal, that is what the gasoline rate was that day. So this would have been back in, I believe, 2023. And so in 2023, it was 3.916 cents for gasoline, and diesel was 5.156. So kind of where we're at as a spread.
2023. Like,
Yes.
Higher under a different president.
yeah, everybody's complaining now.
Mhm.
Yet the price was a little higher.
So this is just an example price. So we could see then what our discount is, which is 11 cents. So we don't hold them to this price because we know it is just a snapshot of that time. We always get the 11 cents off.
Well, before we move on to the postage meter cost, Carl, Greg, do you have any questions for Rachel about this one? I think our discussion about postal meters will be a lengthy one.
Are these just for county-owned vehicles, and how do they identify themselves?
It's actually through their card. So everybody has a gasoline card that has a vehicle. So it can be a fleet card that stays in the vehicle or on the person that's in charge of the fleet, and they hand it to the employee. Or we do have specific drivers that will keep the card with them. And that's how we know that it is specifically for a county vehicle, is by that.
So Joe Smith, who works in maintenance, couldn't pull in on a weekend at his car and use his card and get 11 cents off for his own car.
So what we do, and this is what our county auditor has required, is that when the bill comes, we also have to submit the receipt from the gas station. And with that receipt, they match it up, and the person that's responsible for doing that, so the department would then look and see, oh, well, why would Joe be filling up on a Saturday? That's not a work day. And they would question it. Also, on the other end of the spectrum with the company, they can actually tag things as, is this possible fraud? And it will actually show up on the invoice. And then you can just double check. Sometimes it happens because somebody's filled up twice in one day, which is not unusual with our cruisers. They can fill up in the morning and be all over our county, and they fill up at nights because they know they're going to be busy in the morning and not fill up then. So every once in a while that can happen as well, because it's just an unusual transaction to fill up twice. So we do pay close attention to the receipts versus the invoice.
The employees know they shouldn't be putting gas in their vehicles.
Absolutely, yes.
What normally pay in a year county for gas? What's
In 2025, we paid $322,436.59, which was a little less from 2024. It was a $23,000 savings
in
So-
2024?
than 2024. So yeah, so that shows you where the gas prices were in 2025. Yeah, they had been lower, a little more reasonable.
Rich, on that 300 some odd $1,000 from the previous year, was it 11 cents
It
per
was.
gallon savings? So it's the
Yeah,
same.
it's the exact same rate.
And the largest consumer of gas in the county would probably be the sheriff's.
Yes, New Hope is second.
That makes sense.
Any other questions about the gasoline?
Motion to renew.
Motion to approve the third and final 1-year renewal.
Second.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Rivera.
Yes.
Okay. Talk about postage meters, Rachel.
Yes, let's. So the discussion started when Sun Graphics spoke to me stating that they were losing approximately $3,000 a month in postage. The current owners of Sun Graphics, they purchased it during midway through our contract. And they were aware of this contract and that they had to uphold, and they agreed to uphold the current pricing. We allowed for adjustments for the postage, but no changes in their services. And at that time, services 17% above postage. When they came to us saying, they can't maintain, then we started looking at our options. And the commissioners had asked that I start looking at other options other than having a service. Other options would be for us to process our own mail. So between me, Stacy, Andrew, we learned quickly what it was like to have machines, what we needed to get, information and stuff we needed to get. And that's what I'm coming to you to talk about. Called lots of companies. The end of the day, we were looking at Pitney Bowes and Quadient for the machines. All the machines are pretty much the same. It's just, what does the company best, first of all, with the amount of postage that we have. And then also their service. Service is a big issue when you have machines because you need that service if one of them breaks down. Also, in a department, if we have several machines, can a department go from one machine to another? So that was one of the other things we looked at. And this is right now just discussion, but I did put together a spreadsheet that showed the general fund and what our amount.
What you have is BOC and then sheet 1 is non-general fund, but I'm confused.
Okay, so this,
BOC shows, Rich, I'm a little confused.
so I'll turn it around.
So clerk of courts, commissioner, common pleas. So you have one tab that says BOC.
That's the one we want to look at, is the BOC one.
What's sheet 1 then?
Sheet 1, that was just my rough draft, everything together. We hadn't done anything with that.
So don't look at sheet 1.
Don't look at sheet 1.
Okay, so we're looking at the BOC tab.
Correct.
Okay.
And you'll see the very first thing or building is the administration building. So that has a lot of different departments. And in the administration building, it's a rough estimate that there's about 3,300 pieces of mail. And this would be letter size.
That's a month per month.
Yes. And with the amount of people going through and would be using that mail, both Pitney Bowes and Quadient did say, you know, you would need a little bit of bigger machine. And what I mean by it is just the capacity. So it'd be an automatic feed, larger end, like you wouldn't have to pull a stack at 30, you could pull it at 100. So it's shooting them out and you just grab a whole stack and move them out of the way. It's just the whole logistics with this. But then the other departments would be smaller machines. Other buildings would be smaller machines. Again, mail that we put out. We are looking at under the general fund 4 machines. So it'd be at the administration building, Longview, Peoples, and Juvenile. Longview on the spreadsheet, it's an estimate because of Board of Elections. You just don't know what amount of mail they out just because it's mandated. You know, if there's extra mailings the elections, then they have to run that through. So at the end of the day, what we're looking at with Quadient, and let me explain the pricing that we received. Quadient was very clear, precise with their pricing. We didn't have any guesswork when it came to theirs. Pitney Bowes, it was a little more difficult. We're still questioning some of the pricing. But even looking at their pricing, it's still more than what Quadient's. But it depends on if the commissioners decide that they want to do a rent or you want to purchase the machines outright. To purchase the machine outright, a total of $21,973.25 for the 4 machines. And then on top of that, you would have a 3-year meter rental at $2,480, and 2-year maintenance, because the first year maintenance is free. And that maintenance would be $8,784. For a total, if we purchase the machine, it would be $33,205.25 for 3 years. If we decide to do the lease or the rent, just depends on who you talk to of what they want to call it. And we do a 60-month, the total would be $9,883.56 a year.
Plus supplies and postage. That's just machines.
That's just for the machines. We would still have to pay for postage. We do get a 4-cent per stamp savings by using these machines.
What's the savings? I'm trying to understand your spreadsheet.
Mhm.
What's the savings compared to the purchase as opposed to the lease?
Really, there isn't, I would say not so much as a savings, because it just depends. Do you want new machines after every 3 years? Or do you want to own these machines and do you want to keep them for the life of the machines? I don't, Stacy, what do you think about the savings?
Well, I guess I did it for 5 years because the 60-month is
Well, I'm
5
sorry,
years.
that's what I meant was 5 years. I apologize.
5. Mine, with the way it was quoted, the savings is, second, let me do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand your spreadsheet here.
Savings is $5,976 for 5 years if we bought them opposed to renting them.
With all these numbers, the postage is additional. This is just the cost of
It's additional.
being purchased rent.
Stacy, did your figure in the postage?
No, that's just the machines. I can't figure in, I mean, we can guesstimate on the postage. The difference between, I'm not talking postage, I'm just talking about purchasing machines or renting them for 5 years. What the 5-year cost would be for the machines, and that does not include supplies.
And if we leased, would we get how often would we get new machines?
Well, if we leased for the 60-month, which is the better lease opposed to the 36 or 48 numbers that he sent us, we would you get new machines in 5 years, but it's usually, he said like 4.5 years. So you get new machines every 4
But
to,
would we need to purchase new machines at the end of that 5-year cycle anyway?
possibly. It depends if an upgrade was needed. Or we could lease again in 5 years if we purchase this time, but it depends. Some of the counties I talked to are, they've had their machines longer, but others like, yeah, they're, there's updates. So he's been there
That seems
seven,
negligible.
he's been there 7 years and the machines have changed. What?
$1,000.
They're on IX7 right now. They started at IX4.
Maintenance.
I don't think it was 1.
So what would be the benefits to the lease as opposed to the outright purchase? Not trying to minimize 5,000.
Nope.
Grand a year. Okay, that's not substantial. I mean, generally, I'll never say always, but more often than not, you want to purchase as opposed to lease.
Mm.
Understood.
If you were at home, you'd probably purchase.
But I also, if I'm at home, I don't have the amount of mail that's coming out.
Right, but I'm with anything though.
Right.
Opposed to
Understood.
purchasing
Right.
anything, not
It
just,
doesn't seem like a lot. What's the benefits to the lease as opposed to the outright purchase?
Truthfully, I'm gonna say there's not a lot, because with the purchase price and then with those meter and 2-year maintenance, you're getting the exact same thing if you own it or if you lease it. So it's not that we would have anything better by owning it versus leasing it, except for at that 4.5 years, we could get new machines. It's kind of like our copiers.
but it's a new lease. Price. So
It
I'm
is,
allowed to call it lease. State contract, rental, lease.
yes.
So, there'll be a new rental amount in 5 years when that 60 months is done.
So it's kind of like our copiers. We lease them, but we know that we're gonna put a lot of miles on those. And that then they start breaking down at about that 5-year, point. And by owning them, you would have to start maintaining them. You would have, then all of a sudden you would have this machine you have to try to get rid of. So that's why we did the cost per copy.
My understanding is the lease will be beneficial, let's say 3 years in, if we need new machines. Right, that's where you would theoretically benefit. Let's say 3 years in, we're just crushing it on the mail.
Or there's been an update that requires a new machine, that it's not, because
Oh, the end of life.
to be compatible with the post office and the post services too. So that would, yes, that,
Or the meter's updated if postage goes up.
They are electronic.
Instantaneously, aren't they?
Yeah,
So it's an online automatic upgrade,
it is.
kind of like a Tesla.
You buying a Tesla, Mears?
I do not own one, but yes, it would be.
I sat in on several of these meetings and I kind of of the opinion that this is our first time we're using these things. I kind of lean toward leasing because we'll know more about them after this and decide what to do, but I'm a little leery of just going out and purchase them and then we're not happy with doing it this way. So we're stuck with them for 5 years anyhow, but I would lean towards doing that. And as far as there's a big difference in cost between these two companies. And
Yes.
down to the totals, it's a lot of money.
Pitney Bowes does offer online postage, which I don't think is much of an advantage, but
They do offer. I guess it would be an advantage. It would be easy for those small departments, or for other departments that are non-general fund. It would be a little bit easier because if they don't have enough mail, they can then print their postage. And especially since most of us send letter size, 1 ounce or less. It's just the going rate. It would still be a little bit of a savings, and we could just print off a whole page of stamps. So it would just be, instead of having one copier ding, which would be a charge, then you could just print off a bunch of them. You'd have extra stamps. But again, we would have to be very careful where we keep those, because you don't want them just sitting out on your desk, because that's money.
And you and I discussed the hidden cost in all of this, in that we're now processing our own mail, whereas Sun did it before.
Correct. Yes.
So we've got to.
Sun did 2 pickups a day and now you're reliant on the postal
Employees.
service. Postal service is gonna be here once a day. And then if you want anything else to go out later, then somebody's gotta take it to the post office.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
We're not going to make a decision today.
No, we are not making a
Yes.
decision today, but with these machines, also, they can weigh. So if you have a box, there's a scale that's attached, you just set it on top and it will print a label for you, with the weight and what the cost is.
Service, you're saying?
No,
No?
No,
with Quadrant and the machines
yes, it's actually,
scale, yeah. So the things that don't fit through the machine, you can weigh on top and it'll print out a label or, yeah, a label for you to put on with the postage. We do need to make a decision, so the current contract with Sun Graphics will expire May 6th. It could take a week to 10 days to get machines in and then training, so you need to make a decision soon, but it doesn't have to be today. So that you can look at the spreadsheet and all the information that Rachel provided.
questions?
Just, I don't know if you said this earlier, but why is Sun getting out of the contract or just?
They didn't say that they were losing money. They did. That they would pretend not to have this contract. And then in an email, they did actually say that they are contacting their service for their machines to let them know when the end date would be, which of course is May 6th for us.
And they've been handling mail for the county for how many, for
Since 2017.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're very welcome.
Move on to the other parts of our agenda. I have a motion to certify the record of proceedings for March 19th.
A motion for some amendments. On 0.08.11 toward the end. As Commissioner Vero stated, Bucky's has been to the land and spoken to the regulatory agencies, period. And it says there will stormwater requirements. I believe that should say spoken to the regulatory agencies about stormwater requirements. So that'll be my first amendment. The next one is Bucky's will develop about 35 acres of land, not 30. And then at the very last sentence, Bucky's, it says Bucky's will pay for any infrastructure. It should be Bucky's will initially pay for any infrastructure. Those would be my 3 amendments.
I will second that with those amendments.
Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes,
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
I have a motion to approve requisitions.
so move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes,
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Next item on our agenda regarding sales tax sharing amounts, I've pulled from the agenda that needs more discussion before we look at approving that. But moving on from there, could I have a motion to approve the quote from Standard for new air handler at juvenile court?
So move.
second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes. Commissioner
Banks,
Yes,
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
And if I can make a note on that, that's already budgeted in the reinvestment fund. That's the same.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. We have 2 travel requests from Auto Title. I have a motion to approve those.
so move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Banks,
Yes,
Vero.
Yes.
Authorize the annual nuisance trapping at Dayspring.
So moved.
second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yeah.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes,
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to approve the contract for 2026 for EMA to have a booth at the fair?
So moved.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
I have a motion to authorize advertising for building maintenance seasonal position.
So moved.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Yes.
I have an additional item that was not on the original agenda. I'd like to have a motion to authorize me to digitally sign the CDBG grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Development for say $290,000 for CDBG money. 75,000 of that goes to Richland County Transit Services and $158,800 for the generator replacement at Dayspring. There's $56,200 in admin costs, totaling that $290,000. The total amount in the federal program is 45.5 million. But I'm looking for a motion to approve that so I could sign that and have Jodica handle the disbursement of that allocation.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Mr. Knapp, you have anything you'd like to add?
Happy to be here. Richland County Commissioners, thank you for everything you do every day for our community.
Always good to see you, Mr.
Good to see you. Is there any further business to come before the Board of Commissioners at this time? Hearing none, we stand adjourned at 9:56.